In the past week, I've had many conversations about friendship and loneliness. So today, we need to talk about that.
Let's keep calm and mother on. Mothering is way too important to do alone and way too serious to be serious all the time. My name is Christy Thomas, and I am here shoulder to shoulder with you, mothering and enjoying life together. This is the podcast where you can focus on being mindful and taking a deep breath with me and learning new things so you can pause and savor the amazing life you already have.
There is a level of loneliness in raising young children that I think isn't talked about enough. And there's a level of loneliness with moving all the time and not having the same consistent people all around. There's a level of loneliness found in just kids growing up how they're supposed to, because you have this new version of your kid with you all of the time. And sometimes you miss that last one. There's grief mixed in. Today, though, we're going to talk about friendships and what it takes to keep a friendship and how to make friendships you have better. Because while I recorded this back in 2020, I think that there still is an epidemic of loneliness. And we need each other. One of the reasons why I started this podcast is that I firmly believe that we are better together. Life is way too important to do alone, and motherhood is way too important to do alone. We have to find other people. So I rewatched one of my favorite TED Talks this week, and I'm going to share the thoughts I recorded about this TED Talk in 2020. Enjoy.
And I recently rewatched one of my favorite TEDx talks, and it's by Shasta Nelson. And she goes through what it takes to make meaningful friendships. And I just wanted to give you the rundown here. This is her work, not mine, and the link to their TEDx talk and her books will be in the show notes. So right now, can you check in with yourself and see if you feel lonely? I think loneliness is the biggest epidemic that we face right now as a humanity. We are all connected in a shallow way. Have you ever heard like a mile wide but an inch deep? That phrase? I think that's what our social media connections feel like. We have a mile wide connection with people, but it's so shallow. And so this is why the TEDx talk by Shasta really interests me, because she's a researcher and I'm all about science helping me make better choices. She says in order to build true friendship that has intimacy, and she defines that as feeling seen and safe in a satisfying way for both people, you need 3 things. Okay? The first thing shouldn't surprise you. You need positivity. We need our friendships to feel positive in a ratio of 5 to 1, right? We've talked about this before. Some places say it's 8 to 1. You need 5 positive interactions for every 1 negative at a minimum. And those interactions can be fun and gleeful. We want to feel affirmed and positive and appreciated, right? So all friendships have to have an element of positivity. The second thing that all friendships need is consistency. And this is why you were friends with everybody in your second grade class. It just came natural because you were with those kids if you were a public school student or traditional schooling student for hours and hours and hours every week. So that consistent exposure to those group of kids made friendships happen. Because in those consistent interactions, you were able to start to predict how people would respond to different things, and you could develop patterns. And those patterns make you feel safe. So you need consistent time together. That's where you develop a history. And the third thing you need to develop a great friendship is vulnerability. Vulnerability isn't just sharing your hardships. Vulnerability is also being brave enough to share your big dreams with someone and talking about what's really going right and what's sometimes going wrong. It's feeling safe enough to share all your big thoughts. One of my friends calls this knowing that you have a safe place to land. I think that's a really good description to vulnerability. And when you have vulnerability in your friendship, you feel seen. Okay, so we've talked about the 3 things that Shasta Nelson says you need to have friendship. Good friendship, positivity, consistency, and vulnerability. But here's the deal. If you're feeling lonely, the answer isn't to go make a new friend. If you're feeling lonely, the answer is to reach out to the people that you already have and build up that friendship more. How can you take a step towards having more consistency, more positivity, more vulnerability in your relationship? How can you nudge it up a little bit? Most of our friendships are at that mile wide and an inch deep. So let's pretend like our friendship is actually a mountain. So most of our friendships are at the bottom level of the mountain. And the more we invest, the more consistent, the more positive, the more vulnerable we are, the higher that friendship mountain grows. We notch it up. We become safer and we feel seen and we feel connected. You don't need more friends. You just need to spend time with the people that matter. And this is totally me preaching to myself because I have not been great with consistency with some friends in the last year. And I've noticed that I've started to feel a little bit lonely because I've put them in the back burner to work on other things or just life demands. And as a friend was trying to teach her teen son the other day, you can always get another promotion at work. But the time with people, right? The time you can physically spend with friends before they move or before you move or before something catastrophic happens, you can't replace that. Invest in people. It's a non-renewable resource. Your time is. Okay. I know that there's something here that probably spoke to you. And there's probably something here you can drip down little by little into your kids' hearts so that they can learn earlier in their life how to be more open to friendship. So they can have positive relationships that make them feel safe and seen in a satisfying way for both people. Can you guess what the self-care is? I want you to reach out. Reach out to someone that you already know, not a new person, and do a FaceTime coffee date if you need to, or a long phone call and a walk, or an actual walk in person if that person is near you. Do something to ratchet up the consistency in your friendships this week. Now, for your family playtime, this is what's winning at our house right now. I want you to get out your phone and Google search karaoke YouTube videos. You might not have a fancy microphone like my family does, but you can totally sing karaoke. Apparently, you can even sing karaoke to the song Baby Shark. So all you have to do is look up Baby Shark karaoke and away you go. the words will flash across the screen just like one of those Disney sing-along videos that my music teacher used to put on when she was sick. So I'm totally dating myself. VHS tapes. Who else remembers them? It doesn't matter. But have fun. You are a rock star. Your kid isn't perfect and you are not perfect. But together you make a perfect combination. I'm so glad you're here. Please don't forget to go share this podcast episode with at least 2 friends and leave a rating and review. I can't do this without you. Thanks for helping me change the world.
Well, I still believe it. I still believe that you are exactly the right mom for your kids. Your kids are exactly the right kids for you. And thank you for sharing this episode. I couldn't grow this community, this idea to keep calm and mother on and that we need each other without you sharing it. So I appreciate you. And I'm so glad you're here today. Now, seriously, you don't have to listen to Baby Shark and do karaoke of that song. There's better songs now. But, and we already did that one a couple weeks ago, but please do reach out to a friend, some that you've maybe dropped the ball with, or maybe someone that you have a new friendship developing, but it's still on the weak side. We need each other, and we need our kids to see moms having friends and what that looks like in adulthood. You've got this. Bye, everyone.